take a minute to panic, take a minute to be anxious, take a minute to be mad, be upset, go have your emotion. But then you gotta stop, and you need to think of solutions. So use your imagination to figure out, how are we going to solve this? How are we going to get through this?
I'm like, I don't really deserve to be here. Like, how did I get here? Like, whatever. And then the other model is telling me that she was nervous to work with me. So it's like, I didn't understand what she was saying, but it was very different than how I was viewing myself.
I used to get so like, oh, gratitude journal, that's so lame. And however you want to do it though, but just, it doesn't have to be this like, I'm writing in my daily gratitude journal, which that can be a really amazing tool for some people.
I've learned in situations where I'm really struggling, or I feel like I've failed, or I feel like anything, I always stop and think, what would I say to my best friend who was in this situation? Because if my best friend was in this situation, I wouldn't be harsh and be like, you're lazy, you're ugly.
Welcome back to the Blonde Highlights podcast. Kris is back from the Caribbean, and I am back from the fires. What is going on, Kris?
Oh my God. Let me tell you, I'm a cruiser now. Like, I love cruising. I was very skeptical to get onto that boat, had a full-on panic attack. But after like a half an hour of being on there, someone gave me potato salad, and I was literally just like, this is going to be the best time of my life. It was amazing. The kids had a great time. Michael and I had a great time. It was just all around the best time. And like, we're a cruising family now.
I have never been on a cruise, but it's something that I've always thought about, because I have a feeling I would really like it, because I like to just like, I don't like a bunch of adventure. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I want to wake up and like the action be right there.
Well, it's fun because when you're on a cruise ship, there's so much to do for the kids and adults. So Michael and I missed out on a lot of things because we had the kids with us, and like we spent most of the time with the kids. But there's so much to do, or there's so much to allow you to relax as well. So like, if you want to be busy and go, you can do that. Or if you just want to like slump around, you can do that as well. And they have like so many things for you to do to be comfortable. When we ported at our destination, so we went to Honduras, and then we did 2 ports in Mexico. And Michael was like super hesitant because I was like, look, let's just go through the tourist part and exit out, and we'll just get in a taxi from a local and go. And we saved so much money that way. But then this second day when we went to Mexico, it was so expensive. So we just got like a tour guide thing. And we did the beaches there, and it was cool. But by the third day, we were like, let's just walk around and then get back on the boat and do all the things that are fun on the boat for the kids, where it's not going to be as busy. But the other cool thing about the cruise ship is that you're on there with like 6,000 other people, and you don't feel it. You're not waiting in long lineups for a lot of the things. The food is fast. You're never running out of things to do. Like, it was amazing.
That would be my biggest fear, would be the long lines, because I hate a line. Like, I don't care how popular something is. If there's a line, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing it. And I feel like, but that's my routine on vacation is wake up, get a good breakfast and a good coffee. And then we need to go to the beach, and we need a spicy margarita on the beach. And then from there, later on, we're going to figure out like a late lunch, and then we're going to go out later. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're going to go later, have dinner, be lazy until then, and then go out. Get a cocktail
on the cruise, and you can do that. You can get a drinks package, like we didn't, but you could also bring your own wine on the cruise, which I didn't know. But you can have drinks, you can lounge, you can do all the things. There's so much food. Honestly, like probably I like too much food because you just want to eat it all or like try all the things. I didn't even get to try everything. They had like 24-hour restaurants, like. It was amazing. We put down a deposit for our next cruise.
Oh my God. I know I tell my mom that we should do a cruise together, or even you, like, or somebody. Like, I just want to go and chill. Like, I think it'd be fun. But not to one-up you with my trip, but I went to the Hoover Dam.
She went.
I went to the Hoover Dam. Like, it was, I don't know, like, I felt very patriotic. Like I was like, I'm proud to be American. This is our goddamn damn, you know? Like it was like kind of magnificent and kind of really cool. But also I was just like, I was in a headspace of like, I'm in like a Kristen Wiig movie. Do you know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
Barb and Margot to Vista, like those kind of movies. Like I was like kind of feeling that because I met up with my mom and her best friend. They were in Vegas for something. And so I met them in Vegas and then we went to the Hoover Dam. But I left LA at 4:30 in the morning and drove straight through to Vegas. And so I was so tired because I literally got up at 4 a.m. to go. And I didn't finish packing, go to sleep until 1 a.m.
Oh my God. Stop. Did you sleep there or did you drive home that day?
No, I slept the night.
Okay.
And then the next day we did like the whole Vegas strip. My mom's never been to Vegas. So we did the whole Vegas strip.
Fine.
We saw everything. Like it was overwhelming for me because I don't like big crowds. Like I feel like if I'm in a big crowd, I need to have some cocktails and I just wasn't in that mood. I don't love Vegas. I don't love it, but it's okay. Like there's ways to enjoy it, but to walk the strip and all that, like it ain't my vibe. But I was so happy just happy to see my mom. I could have done nothing, but it was good to see her. And I was happy. Like my mom has, you know, a 4-year-old and then she has like 8 grandkids. And she's a very active grandmother. So I was happy that she was able to have some time. I drove, yeah, but I drove back the next night and I didn't leave till late. So I didn't get back into LA until like 1 in the morning. Like it was crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so much fun though. Yeah, I feel like Vegas is kind of like, for me, I'm the same. Like I've been to Vegas multiple times. I used to work there a lot. And I never really had any sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like attraction or anything to go down to the strip and like party and gamble. Like I've never had a big Vegas experience like that. I definitely went to the Hoover Dam. But I'm kind of just like, whatever.
Yeah. I'm not big on gambling because I just feel like I'm wasting money, but I have had some like showed up in Vegas blacked out and left blackout. Like I'm just like, I went to Vegas and I don't remember kind of trip.
Yeah.
Not proud of that. No.
Whatever. And
I have some funny Vegas memories because I've been there for it not being my favorite place. I've been there a lot.
I know. I was going to say, like, how could this not be somewhere that you favor because you're always there?
I know. I'm all begrudgingly getting there and I'm like,
The flights are so cheap, though. I went there for like $50 round trip.
yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. It's like in LA's back door. That's why it's always right there. But speak of LA, like, okay, so if you guys listen to our last episodes, like they were kind of like, we were really getting into some like deep stuff. And I think that that's great. Like, I feel like we're going to kind of push the podcast in more of a still have fun, but also like, you know, kind of highlight people's stories of overcoming things and talk about like overcoming obstacles and like being like, you know, resilient in life in a way, but still have fun with it. And so as we're filming this video, these episodes of Kris getting into like the darkest parts of her life, this city was on fire. Like to make note, like they did so well of editing out all the sirens because I'm sitting here, Kris is like, you know, putting her heart out there and I'm getting alerts on my phone that's like evacuate. I'm like, there's fire trucks zooming by every which direction. Like it was absolute chaos. And I'm just like, what the hell is happening? And literally they evacuated like a block down at the time when we were filming. Like, I was just like, what in the hell am I walking out of the studio into? And you had no clue what was going on.
Zero. I'm like literally sitting here, bawling my eyes out, like sharing my story. And like everything where you are is up in flames. Like,
yeah.
You got off the phone. And then afterwards, like an hour later, you're like, have you seen the fires? I'm like, oh my God. Like, literally, I remember you saying there was like hundreds of just like sirens that you could hear. I'm falling. You're like panicking. And we pulled it off though. We did great.
No, we did. We did. And it was just, but like, it was chaos. It's been chaos for weeks. And I don't mean to make any light of it, but like, it's pretty bad situation. But we don't need to go into all of that. I thought for a couple of days that my community garden that I'm a part of burned down, but it was spared. Thank God. There was a couple little fires like up in the trees, but they got it out. And I think they were using my community garden like as a barrier. But like, I didn't realize that our garden is at the bottom and it's like fenced off, but the entire park that goes up into the mountain behind it is the same name. So when they were saying like that it had burned down and they're like on the news talking about it, and I was like, oh, no. And at the same time, I was under like evacuation warning. So I was just like running back and I was like packing a bag. I was like grabbing clothes, throwing them into a bag, running to the living room, being like, my garden, which is not the highest priority. Like bad things happen. We don't need to focus on my garden burning down possibly. But I was just like in a state of chaos trying to figure it all out. And then I was just like filling water bottles up, and then but they got that fire that was close to me out very fast, very fast.
Sure.
And I really didn't think I was in immediate danger. But it did scare me because what I learned is the roads turn to gridlock.
That's scary.
Yeah, like everyone panics.
I remember you sending me an article and then I didn't like get your message right away or anything. And then I was going to sleep. And then when I woke up in the morning, I saw it and I texted you. And then I went on TikTok and I saw all the AI generated videos of the Hollywood sign up in flames.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I was crying because I was like, oh my God, like this just looks terrifying. I'm like, where's Kyle? I can't reach her. So I just remember that finally when I got a hold of you, you were like, yeah, no. Like, I thought you were in bed still. I was like, you bitch. Like, I've been trying to reach you. Like, but oh my God.
Yeah, I think I was exhausted
So
from
scary.
like, the panic of it all. And before I went to sleep, I knew the fire was out. So it wasn't like I like that fire, not the rest of them, but that one particular. And
Sure.
but yeah, I mean, I was in so much chaos that I didn't even notice that you didn't respond, honestly. So I wasn't like, I didn't think anything of it. I was just exhausted.
I think that's the struggle sometimes with our time difference is because like you'll text me something and you're like up and going and I'm just like, I'm dead.
But that was, I mean, that was just absolute chaos.
And those episodes were really great. I feel like it was such a great way for you and I to open up, and it has opened up the door for so much connection. Like the amount of feedback or messages that we've received, even from people that we didn't even know listened to the podcast, I think was really special. And I think that that's kind of what's inspired us a bit to be like, okay, maybe this is like the direction that we need to start heading in, where we're speaking more openly and not just as a way to share our stories, but to have listeners on and guests on and like connect with our viewers, our listeners, and our friends and family who want to come on as well. So, I mean, I still want to have our fun times. Like, don't get me wrong, like, we're still going to be fun, but I definitely think that there's something there that we need to explore because the amount of feedback that we received, we're like, okay, we did something really right without even knowing.
Yeah, I mean, the feedback that I got from people too was just, it was really great feedback. People in my life were like asking me about, like even your episode too, because they were like, oh my God, like that was, it inspired me in this way or that way. And so, I felt like good about it. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like, I was like, oh, we're like doing something here.
Yeah, and that was the cool thing because like I was receiving messages when your episode was out as well from people being like, oh my gosh, like that's so inspiring that she shared this, or Kyle's so funny, like it's so awesome that she's being so open about everything. So I think we just need to explore it a bit and have fun along the way. So here we are.
Yes, here we are. Do you want to talk about like your highlights and lowlights?
Okay, so my highlight would be coming back from the trip. And normally when I come back from anywhere, I go into like a nesting mode in my house. Like I try to get everything all put back in order, everything. And I don't know what it was, but I came back this trip and I think I was just so exhausted because look, as much as it was a great time, when you're on vacation with kids, it is exhausting. And we shared a room with the kids the whole time. So it was just like pure exhaustion. And I came back and I was just like, I'm not doing anything. And I was like, I'm just going to chill. Like I had to do a lot of work meetings this week because we have a lot of stuff going on for the catering. But I just like took time for me. I didn't run myself down. And then I got booked on a pretty big project in New York. So now I'm going to New York tomorrow. It's like a 5 a.m. flight. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I came back, I had my little time, and now I get to go work in New York for a bit. So that's my highlight. My low light, I think, is just the weather here has been crazy. Like my brother lives about an hour north of me, and today I had to drive home from his house. I got to go there last night and have a night with him and his girlfriend. And on the way home, it was like an absolute blizzard. Like my knuckles were white driving. Like I hate driving in the snow. It makes me so uncomfortable. And there's so many like dicks that are always just like, well, we live in Canada, so you should drive in Canada. You shouldn't be complaining. And it's just like, it's still scary. I don't care what anybody says. Like when you're driving on the road and it's just like slippery snow under you, like just like layers of it because the plows haven't come out, it's terrifying. So that was my low light, but I made it home. I'm just tired of the weather. I need sunshine and spring.
Yeah. Like I do not miss driving in the snow. I remember like my town that I grew up in was very much like a commuter town into the city. And like not even a close commuter town, like a, you know, like a 70-mile drive or like over an hour drive. And being on that highway with all the semi trucks, you know, like shoveling, like throwing all the snow all over you. And like, I do not miss that at all. I remember like pulling over like so many times, like sliding out. It's just, I do not miss that mess.
What are your highlight and low light?
Well, okay, so I was going to say seeing my mom and hanging out was my highlight, but I just thought right now, and I want to talk about this, is my highlight is this new app, like the Red Note app that everyone's talking about, like because everyone's going to go there from TikTok, but then TikTok came back, and I think it's called like Zhang Hongshu is like the Chinese name for it, and she speaks Mandarin now, ni hao ma, like she's learning Chinese, and
she's getting educated.
Okay, But I think people thought at first, like, this is going to be an alternative to TikTok. But honestly, it's not like TikTok. I would describe it as, I think it's 70% female. It's a very much like women kind of space. But there is some men, but it's also kind of like Pinterest meets TikTok in a way. And I also think because it is like Chinese government, like they're not allowed to talk about politics, or they're not allowed to talk about a lot of things. And they even have to like blur like cleavage a little bit.
That's a safe space.
It is, but it is like a safe, quiet, like chill space. You know what I mean? Like everything's so chaotic and messy and just like stuff's happening. And then I just go over there and then it's just like tons of rabbits. Like everybody, like I thought I was a weird rabbit person. They're all like that. Like the rabbits are everywhere and everyone has like the super fluffy like Angora rabbits and they take them and like pet haircuts are really popular there. So yes, so they all have like all these like really fluffy rabbits or cats or dogs, but like it's mostly like cats and rabbits it seems, and they're very fluffy and they have like very manicured haircuts to make them like extra cute.
Oh my god, so cute.
Yes, and so they love that. And my background in my bedroom, I have this massive like royal painting of my rabbit. So I'm with my people over there. We're weird rabbit people, I guess. I don't know. It is
having a good time.
We're having a time. Like honestly, I go over there and I'm just like, it's getting a little negative, and then I just like pop over there and then it's like sunshine and rainbows and pets and cute things, you know?
It's refreshing. I need to get on there. I was trying to get on there, but like I can't for some reason get on.
I have to show you how.
I'm gonna have to figure it out, but
yeah, it's easy, but I will help you figure it out because it's an easy step because it took me a minute to figure it out too. And this is before they put like English translations in, so I was just like translating everything and like
you're natural.
Yes.
I have a long year. I'm gonna make this work. I need a break from TikTok.
Yes. So I
guess TikTok was non-existent for 5 minutes.
Yeah, like 12 hours. And I felt bad. I was in Vegas and I wasn't able to say my goodbyes, but then it was back the next morning.
I can't. We're not, but I can't.
But yeah, so if you are a non-Chinese person, don't go over there and cause drama. Okay?
Yeah.
They're nice. They're sweet. And I feel like we're like their like redneck cousin that just showed up from the trailer park, traumatized as hell. And they're like, come on in, let us help you. They're like,
the only there's an episode of The Simpsons where it's like the Flanders and it's like all their sunshine and they're playing and then like the Simpsons show up and like everything just starts to turn dark and gloomy and like all the frogs are coming out.
That's exactly what's happening.
The app's gonna be non-existent soon.
We're gonna destroy it. Yeah. Okay, but my low light is, well, we don't need to get into it. Maybe we will get into it one day, but being a trans woman in 2025 right now, that's a low light. We're going to laugh through the pain.
We're just going to laugh. No words right now.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what you're going through right now. You know, like I can't.
Well, you know what? We're just going to push on through it, and we ain't going to allow these people to bring down my joy, because 2025 is my year. Let me tell you that. Like, I think everything's going to collapse around me, but it is my year to get some shit done. And it already has. Like, I've already figured some stuff out. And I don't know if you believe this, but like, and like, you know how there's like the Chinese New Year animal? And so I am the year of the snake. I was born year of the snake, which is crazy because I'm terrified of snakes. But anyways, it is the year of the snake starting this week. So it's my year to thrive.
Phoenix Rising moment, like it's coming.
Well, yes, we're having a Phoenix Rising moment. The podcast is going to Phoenix Rise with me. We're going to like, you guys are going to be like, I was listening to them like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everyone is already, but you know.
Duh. But we're going to be, you know, there's going to be those arguments online where it's like, you're only coming in now. Like, we were fans from the very beginning. Like, happened to Sabrina Carpenter last year. I watched all of that go down. That's us for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Were you a Sabrina Carpenter before, or?
I didn't know who she was until I saw her music video. Please, please, please.
Really?
I had no clue who she was.
Well, not to, you know, one up you again, but I wasn't like a big fan, but I had heard some of her songs. Like, I realized, like, okay, so like I use Spotify now, but I used to use Apple Music. So when I get in my car, sometimes the Apple Music like connects automatically, and it's like all the songs that I like purchased with money that I like bought. And there were Sabrina Carpenter songs on there. And I was like, wait, I was listening to her music years ago.
And like, I'm an OG fan.
Yes.
It's like, remember when you were like, you sent me this meme and it was something where it's like, I don't know who Charlie XCX is. And then it gave like a whole list of all her old songs. And I knew like every one because they were absolute bangers and everyone knows them.
Yeah.
Like, same thing.
Yeah. I always knew who Charlie XCX was because like sometimes she would just show up to the club that I was going to like every night at the time and get on the stage and sing. But when there was a couple years ago, she was at Lollapalooza in Chicago. And she was like, I forget what she said. It was like a little monologue at the beginning of the song with her accent. And it was so, like, it literally changed the brain chemistry in my head. And I was like, I'm meant to be a bad bitch. And it inspired me. And
changed the whole course of your life. You're like, this is it.
It did. I wish I could remember what she said. And it was just like something about in her accent, like something sporty. How do they say it in Britain?
Like sporty.
Yes, she was saying that like do like a sporty car or something. I don't know how it was.
I like a sporty car.
Yes.
Sporty car. You're like, this is my becoming of age moment.
It really was. It really was.
Oh my God.
So I became like a super fan like right before Brad came out. So she's better than all of you. Okay, we should move on to the point of the episode.
Let's get to it.
Okay, so we are talking about, you know, we're overcoming obstacles. We are staying strong. We're getting through it, you know, and you like, we were thinking since we kind of talked about like, you know, stuff to kind of give some examples and so you can relate to, we thought it'd be great to start in with some steps of like keeping a positive mindset to endure through some tough times and figure things out and to thrive. So we thought we'd get into those so you can have a better mindset. And I want to say too, I hate, and I am not going to say, well, just change your mindset. You know, like something's terrible, like something terrible's happening in your life and you're like, and then everyone around you is like, hey, you should just be more positive, like change your mindset. And like, that is true, but also like, shut the up.
Like, especially when you're battling like actual deep-rooted depression and it's like, it's not that easy. I have no control over my brain right now. Like, you can't just like,
yeah,
okay,
it's all over.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh my God. Thank you. Be positive. Thanks.
Thanks.
Didn't think of that.
No.
Struggle with the idea that like I literally can't be, but cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
I hate toxic positivity. Like I am a big believer in toxic positivity. I think be positive, find the positive and whatever, but sometimes it's unrealistic and that falls into the toxic positivity category.
Literally, like sometimes it gets on my last nerve. But so basically I was just kind of like Googling like what should we talk about or whatever. And I came across this article and it is based on like 7 types of mindsets to work on to kind of overcome obstacles. And so number 1 on this list was maintain your commitment by choosing goals that matter to you. What do you think about that?
I really like this, and this actually really struck a chord in me because there was a point where I was setting goals for myself that weren't really what I wanted for myself, but more so what I thought I had to be doing because of social media pressure. So I would be seeing other girls doing certain things, and I would be like, okay, I guess this is just what I need to be doing. And I would set these goals and they weren't unachievable for me. And 2, they weren't even authentic or aligning with anything that had to do with me as a person. So I was literally just faced with the pressure of social media to do things and set these out of pocket goals. And there was no way that I could achieve them at all. And not to say for lack of trying, but just they didn't even make sense to me. And because I didn't really connect with them, I had no motivation to even really try to achieve them. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think that that's a great point that I wasn't even thinking of is that there's a lot of times our goals are based on societal goals of what we should be doing and not what we actually want as goals and what we want out of our life. And that's a really great point to make.
And I think that sometimes when people think setting goals, it has to be a big and elaborate goal or something that is a little bit unattainable. And I think that it could just be something small. I think that not all goals have to be success based. I think that you could set a small goal for yourself that has to do with something that you enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Like you could create more fun goals for yourself as well. Like, you know what? I want to start baking, not because you want to have a YouTube channel or not because you want to do X, Y, and Z, just because like you want to do that because you enjoy that for yourself. So you want to put that goal into action as being something that's good for you and something that you enjoy instead of like a long-term huge project goal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, like it can be like staying committed to a goal and achieving something like that. It can be like a muscle that you have to work on. So even just starting out with a smaller goals and achieving them and kind of building up from there is going to like, instead of just jumping in, like, I'm going to do this tomorrow and it's some big, huge thing. And it's like, no, you start small and you really work up that muscle and that, power to do that. But you're right though, but the goals also need to be about protecting your own mental health and protecting your happiness, because the better place you are mentally and the happier you are, the easier and the stronger you are to achieve bigger goals.
And I mean, I'm creating habits. Like I'm someone that really tries to form healthy habits and stick to them. But then my life is all over the place. So it's really hard for me to have a strict routine. But in order to get into the mindset of holding one habit, I started creating a very small habit for myself that I would just do. So it could be something as every morning when I wake up, I like to put my slippers on. So I would make sure that every morning when I got up, it's like I got into the process of creating that habit. So it became more natural for me than when I wanted to do a bigger habit. It's like, okay, like I can do this. It's like baby small steps in creating healthy habits for yourself.
Okay, so the second one on the list was muster motivation by staying focused on the positive. And again, not toxic positivity, but realistically focusing on positive aspects of a situation.
Okay. When it's saying like mustering the motivation, for me, I try to focus on the after feeling of accomplishing my goals. So let's say I'm not feeling like I'm in the mood to do a workout. I'll motivate myself and I'll like get myself to do a workout by focusing on the positive aspects of it. And that could be the feeling that I get after a workout. It's incredible. We all love it. And that's what I focus on. Or then I'll think that this small step will lead to my bigger step. So if I go for my, my walk today or do my exercise, this is going to help me achieve my long-term goal. And it's these small little stepping stones. So that's how I focus on the positive. Like I look for actual positive things that I can get out of doing it.
You literally read my mind when I said that. And I was thinking too, like, that's how I do sometimes too. I think about like, just like with like a workout, I have to think about how I'm going to feel afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to focus on this or that, but like just going straight to like, how is this going to make me feel and to live in that place? And I'm also very like, I think about even in like a macro level of larger success, I really think about how I'm going to feel and how I'm going to live in that. And that I already have my dream house built in an app. Like I literally have been picking out the curtains lately, So I have to achieve this goal because I need to build this house.
Exactly. And I think that when you have positive results in anything that you do, or even if it's just like one glimpse of positivity in a situation, you can use that as your motivator. And because there's a lot of times that I motivate myself with negativity. And I had to actually learn myself how to switch that mindset. So like say I was going to the gym and I didn't want to go, old me would have been like, well, like you're so out of shape, you're so lazy, like you need to get off your ass and just go. And it's just like, I'm just putting myself down. Whereas again, being like, no, you know what? Go to the gym. You deserve that feeling that you love after the gym. Go do that. And it's just more of a positive experience. You're not diminishing yourself either.
Yeah. And you can motivate yourself with negativity and punishment, but it's not sustainable because it's going to collapse down. Because that's what I used to do too. I used to be like, you got to go to the gym because you're fat and no one's going to want you and you're going to be like this and that. And I used to be so mean about it. And I would motivate myself through torturing myself in a way, but it never works out that way. It always collapses. It always reverses. You never keep up with it because it's, as much as you want to try to punish yourself, you really inside don't want to.
Nobody can live like that. It's like you're the boss of yourself. So it's like, you can only work in real life for an asshole for so long and listen to their shit. So when you're treating yourself like that, you're literally treating yourself like a shitty employee in a sense. You know what I mean? It's like, you can't take that for very long. So.
Yes. Okay. So another one on the list is stay ready by watching your energy levels. And I was kind of like, what do they mean by this? But then I read a little more into it and they were saying like your physical energy level, and I was thinking more like positive energy, but no, they mean like your actual energy level in a day. So they're saying, focus on eating foods that's going to power you and give you energy because you're going to need the physical strength and energy and mental strength to, push through and to achieve something and overcome something. So they're kind of saying like, make sure you're like eating foods that's going to power you, that's going to energize you, and you're getting enough sleep. You're taking care of yourself so that you can function on a higher level.
See, my thing that I wrote down with this, like I agree with all of that. And the number one thing that I wrote down was sleep. Because my whole life, my mom has always said, you're a kid that needs sleep. You need your sleep. And for some reason, my whole life, I've always struggled with sleep, even though I love it, or I would force myself to stay awake. Like if there was an opportunity I could stay up late, I'm like, I'm an adult. I could stay up late, but I need to go to bed. I also have had to learn that like I need that extra sleep. I need that energy, and like it's okay to admit when I'm really tired, or it's okay to admit that like I want to sleep in a little bit later, because I have this thing where it's like if I'm sleeping to a certain time, I feel ashamed. I feel like I'm not successful. I can't believe I slept that long. I have a lot of shame with sleeping in, and I feel like I've had to just accept that some days I have to allow my body to sleep, and that's just how I'm built. And I'm lucky because Michael can recognize when like I need that extra sleep, and he'll move around his day sometimes where like he's like, I'll take care of the kids in the morning, but I feel like, especially as like a parent, you don't always have the opportunities to get all the sleep, obviously, that you used to, but prioritizing, or even if midday you have the chance and you're like, you know what, instead of doing this load of laundry or whatever, I am going to take a nap. And admitting to yourself that that's okay, because I feel like in society, there's like this weird thing where it's like, if you rest, or especially rest in the day, you're automatically lazy, or you're not, do you know what I mean? Like, you're not looked at as like a successful, like, housewife or like boss or whatever. Like, it's really frowned upon, I feel. And I think that it's so important. If your body needs it, then you need to allow the rest.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm such a I'm such an insomniac. Like I told you this morning when you texted me, and I was like, well, I just woke up because the insomnia has been real this week. And a lot of times it's me I'm procrastinating the next day. Do you know what I mean? I'm procrastinating waking up the next morning. And it's not that I don't want to wake up the next morning. It's just that I'm like, I just want to lay here and have a little fun, scroll in my apps and
enjoy it.
Yeah, the next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. and I got to get up at 8 or something. So then I start to compound this lack of sleep, and then it catches up to me. So I say to you, there's a lot of times where I've said, like, you know what, I really need to sleep in that morning because I have to catch up. So I think that is something that you do, like you're saying, prioritize that sleep.
And making sure that, like, you're not shaming yourself for it. Because I know a lot of, like, other moms and parents that I've spoken to, and they're like, they feel embarrassed that they need to take a nap, or that they want to take a nap, or that they did take a nap, because they're like, I should have been doing this, this, and this. And it's like, you need to keep going. Like, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I have like a whole other 8-hour day ahead of me when the kids come home from school. So it's like, if at 2:30 I'm exhausted, and you know what, I have the opportunity to shut my eyes for 30 minutes before I have to pick them up from school, I'm going to. And I've had to allow that, because my sleep will control most of the things that I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm a toddler if I'm not sleeping right.
Yeah. We both are. We're both like two little toddlers fighting when we're like exhausted.
Yeah. Like, it's not okay. It's not a good scene. Like, it's like, even Michael sometimes is like, just go to bed. Let me go.
Yeah, and I've come to accept that I am a night owl. I am a person who becomes creative and inspired, and the best things come to me at late at night. And I think that, you know, I just accepted I'm a cool artistic person, and I live in my cool artistic world. And that's when I'm very like inspired, and that's when I'm like really creative. And so I've kind of allowed that to be kind of, you know, I'm not a 6 a.m. person. I'm not a 5 a.m. person. I want to be, but that's not realistic. I am a night person, but I also do need a routine. And I think that, you know, cool artistic type of people have to have a routine, or we spiral out. So I do try to set some like boundaries with sleep and with getting up to do things, but I also allow myself to be up at night, not go to sleep at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So another one was tackle problems by harnessing your imagination.
I'm not going to lie, I didn't get this. Even when I read about it, I don't understand what this means. So please enlighten me.
Okay, good.
What this meant.
Okay, so I have a really great theory on this, because this is something that I always give my biggest advice on using your imagination like this. Because I say, like, sometimes when something really crazy happens in your life and it seems like everything's going wrong, all these bad things are happening to you, and you're like, oh my God, the world is beating down on me right now. Like, I'm like, take a minute to panic, take a minute to be anxious, take a minute to be mad, be upset, go have your emotion. But then you gotta stop, and you need to think of solutions. So use your imagination to figure out, how are we going to solve this? How are we going to get through this? What can we do? So like, have your feelings, have your emotions, and then stop and focus on solutions. And then that's the time to really pull your imagination and think of creative ways that you can push through this, overcome this, or whatever it is, you know? And I think that has been always such a thing that I have focused on in my life, that I have really worked on. And I also say too, like, I say, you know, stop, you know, have your emotions, stop, think about what you can do. And if there is no solution, you need to let it go, because there is no solution. So stressing about it, having anxious about it, being mad about it, being sad, all these things, it's not going to solve the problem. So if you can't find a solution, you need to like let that go and move on.
And then maybe it's hard to do because you want to have that control, but you just have to learn that you can't control everything. And you're right. Like at some point, you just have to let things go and accept you can't control it. It's out of your control. And stressing about it isn't going to do you any good.
No, and maybe you have to come back to it, but all that's going to do is make the situation worse. So that's how I kind of interpret that.
You interpret that way different than I was doing it. I was like, what does it mean use my imagination? Like, am I supposed to like create a scenario in my head with like character? Like, I went to like a child mind at this. So no wonder I didn't.
And I don't know if that's even what they meant by that, but that's what I mean by that. And that is something that
it makes sense.
And that is a formula in my life that I tell everyone about. And that formula is a big part of my life, of when bad things are happening or crazy things are happening or something feels like a mountain that I can't climb. And that's how I go about life, is that formula right there.
I love it.
So the next one is extend yourself more self-compassion.
I am a big believer that, like, especially for myself, I lived in a space for a very long time. When things would happen or go wrong, I would be so hard on myself. And again, speaking to myself as a negative and from a failure aspect. And what I've had to learn is that, again, like we said, does not really get you anywhere. But I've learned in situations where I'm really struggling, or I feel like I've failed, or I feel like anything, I always stop and think, what would I say to my best friend who was in this situation? Because if my best friend was in this situation, I wouldn't be harsh and be like, you're lazy, you're ugly, you're that, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't treat someone that I love like that. I would be honest and say honest things, even if they don't want to hear it, but I speak in a way to my best friend that is very kind and, generous and whatever. So I had to learn, like, you have to treat yourself like your own best friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, I catch myself doing that. Like, if I'm having these negative thoughts and I'm, saying the worst things to myself, I always stop myself and I'm like, okay, is this how you would talk to this person? What if this was this person coming to you? What would you say to them? And then that's how I start speaking to myself internally.
Yeah, I knew that this was a big move for you, because you've helped me a lot through my life with self-compassion, because that was a thought that I had never even thought about. And it's just like even on some of the clips that we posted of like my interview, I did glance through, and there was a lot of hate comments. But you know what? Here's how I think about it. I'm like, there is nothing you can say that I haven't said worse to myself. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's all you got? That's all you got? Because I can think of a million other better things to say that were meaner to myself. Like, you're not hurting my feelings. But it is, and I think that getting back to the social media aspect is, when TikTok started, like, besides being around you a little bit and learning about body positivity and different things, like, I had never really thought about self-compassion in that way. And you helped me a little bit with that. And then when TikTok came about, it took me to a different world where I really learned about being self-compassionate and like loving yourself and, finding ways to take care of yourself and not being so mean and like taking yourself down. And I think TikTok, and I was thinking about, because when TikTok was going to get banned and everyone was making their videos of like what they loved about TikTok, that's what I was going to say is like, this app taught me to love myself, and that without loving yourself, it's really hard to take yourself to higher places in life and to overcome things, because how can you sell yourself, or how can you prove to everyone else that you are worthy when you don't even think that about yourself? And so you got to find that time to love yourself and to, find the things that you like about yourself and, make some positive changes maybe that make you love yourself even more. But obviously, like, we are perfect as we are. And, there's always room for improvement. But you have to separate all of these things from you as just you as a person, you as a soul, like to separate all of these things that maybe you want to change or you want to whatever, because that's not you. The you is the person inside. And so you have to love that person in order to love yourself enough to help with everything else.
Exactly. That was so well said. I think it's just one of those things that, when I look back at parts of my life when I didn't have a lot of self-worth, and I look at all the situations that I'm in, and it was just like, if I would have had a little bit more self-worth or self-love for myself and genuinely thought that I was worthy of situations, I would have had a way better outcome than what I was getting. And I genuinely feel like once you do start taking the time to respect yourself or respect you as a person, everything will change.
That's really true, because you're going to sell yourself that way. So the next one is stop comparing your situation to anyone else's, and that makes sense. I mean, you are not everyone else. We are all different. And honestly, and I feel like too, like once someone's done something, it's already been done. Like you can't just recreate that. You really have to do things your own way. And you really can't compare your situation to other people's, because I know, like, just in business and other things, you could be like, well, this person got this or this person does that. But then in hindsight, you look back and then be like, well, that was because her uncle was the CEO of that company, or, something like that, and it's just like everyone's situation is different. Everyone's coming from a different place, and you can't compare yourself, because you're never going to get the same thing that somebody else has, because you're two different people with two different lives.
And also too, like when you compare yourself to others, you're really just diminishing yourself. Like when you're comparing yourself, you're taking away from all of the great things that you're doing. And that's happened to me countless times. I'll go on Instagram and I'll feel really good about something that I've just done for work, let's say. And then I'll start scrolling and then I'll see someone else. And I'm just like, holy geez, like, what the hell am I even doing? And you're really just taking away from your own self-pride, your own success, and your own happiness, really. I mean, it's one of those things where it's so easy to do and everyone does it. I still do it. But again, it's like you're only hurting yourself. And you just have to accept that that's that person's journey and their life and what they're doing. And hey, if that's something that is triggering something inside of you to bring yourself down, then maybe instead of looking at it from that negative perspective, maybe you have to stop and like really assess and be like, hey, wait a second, maybe that is something that I want. What can I do to work towards that? Do you know what I mean? Like you can't be another person. So you just have to learn how to be someone that you're happy with and just be happy of the achievements that you are doing.
Yeah, I love that. You're so right about that.
You love it.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Right? We could be having like the time of our life and, have one small little breakthrough. And then you get online and you see someone like huge breakthrough. And then right away, you don't even feel good about yours anymore. It's like, you can't do that. Because then you're just discouraging yourself.
Yeah, and you want to be a girl's girl. You don't want to be the girl that's like, or the person that's like, they have this and they're like angry towards them and you beat yourself up and beat them up and all, like not physically but mentally, and and then they may be like thinking something about like you that like really stands out too. Like in my career, it can be very competitive, and I hold myself like to so many other people's standards. But then sometimes I realize, like in hindsight, I've talked to people and they were really like inspired by something that I did. And I think it's great and I really feel like I like to have one thing that's a red flag for friends is someone who sees someone's success and immediately has to tear them down and to tear themselves down and beat everyone up, when it's so good to see someone's success or see someone doing something and be like, that's really great. I'm so happy for them. And I want to see and learn from them and see if they can inspire me to accomplish something similar or go somewhere similar. And I love that point to it.
And things can just be a little bit more collaborative. Like even, like you don't have to take things as a competition. It's working together. And you're right, like being a girl's girl, like that's what it's about. And, and you're right, like you don't know what other people are thinking of you. Like I remember showing up to a photo shoot once and being so nervous to be there because it was like a really big project, whatever. And I remember one of the models was telling me that she was nervous to work with me. And I was blown away. I'm like, because I was nervous to be there. And I'm thinking, like, I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't really deserve to be here. Like, how did I get here? Like, whatever. And then the other model is telling me that she was nervous to work with me. So it's like, I didn't understand what she was saying, but it was very different than how I was viewing myself.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. People view you very differently than you view yourself. And I've learned that a lot in my life. So the final one is gain momentum by tracking your progress. Yeah. And I think that's great. I mean, I think, when you are trying to overcome something, you're trying to accomplish someone, you're trying to accomplish something, you're trying to do whatever, you may look at the big picture and you're like, I'm so far away from that. I'm not getting there. I'm not doing anything. But then if you look at the individual little progresses, you're like, wow, I did that and I did that. And there's moments to really celebrate along the way. And I think that that's really important to focus on the progress and focus on the accomplishments of the small things to get there. Because if you're over here looking like, I wanted to accomplish this big thing, and you're like, I'm not doing it. It's not happening for me. It's not happening. But if you look, you're like, well, I accomplished this and I accomplished that and I did this, and be proud of yourself that you were able to do that and celebrate those and allow those accomplishments to inspire you to accomplish the next steps and the next things. And eventually you're going to get there.
And I think that that's a time too where you can start to really just practice your gratitude. When you are looking at the things that you've done, really being grateful and excited for yourself that you have accomplished them. And then I think that that will help lead you up the next steps, but really just being thankful that you were able to accomplish it. And I think that if you have that sense of gratitude towards it, you will appreciate the overall experience of reaching your goals differently.
Yes. And I hate, like, I used to get so like, oh, gratitude journal, that's so lame. And however you want to do it though, but just, it doesn't have to be this, like, I'm writing in my daily gratitude journal, which that can be a really amazing tool for some people. It really is. But I do think do take the time to stop and celebrate those small things and be grateful for accomplishing this or accomplishing that. And even sometimes I can look at like my life and be like, oh, everything bad's happened to me and it's been so hard and it's been this and it's been that. But if I really stop and I think about all of these things that I have accomplished or things that I did, and there's so many things that I have gratitude for and I am grateful for. And it's hard for me to not compare those to other people in my industry or other people's things, but to see those at a base level and be like, wow, that is really amazing that happened. That is insane that I was able to do that. And just use that to kind of stay in that mindset of being grateful for things. And it can be hard to be, if you think of it on a macro level or a large level, it can be hard to like be grateful for something, because it could seem not so great, but think of the individual small steps, the little things, and even some of the big things that's happened, and be grateful for those and let that inspire you to keep going, and don't get lost in the cloud of this huge thing and think I'm far away from that or whatever, because you've made some steps and a lot of people, haven't done that. So be grateful that you've done that.
And enjoy the process.
Yes. So,
oh my God, this was so much. Are we like inspirational women now?
We are basically the Dalai Lamas. And
it's not a TED Talk. Like, what was this? Who are we?
Move over, Oprah. We're snatching your throne, girl.
Girl, we're coming for it.
But no, this was good. This was fun. And I feel good about sharing some of our wisdom.
We're very wise women.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for listening. We hope that you have enjoyed this as much as we have. Don't forget to give our social medias a check out. We're on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram of the Blonde Highlight Show. AR, do you have anything else to add?
yeah, check us out. Follow, subscribe, get into it. We're just gonna keep on trucking through this.
Yeah, leave us a review. Like,
Yeah.
this review, whether you love us or hate us, like, we'll take it.
Yeah. And like honestly, like drop your gratitude in the chat, in the comments.
Yes, do it.
And then we'll be grateful.
Gratitude.
We'll have gratitude for you.
Yes. More gratitude, less attitude.
That's funny.
Okay, guys.
We gotta go.
So much, and we'll see you next week.
Hey, bye.
Bye.